Welcome to the PyBites Entrepreneur Lessons Training. Increase your career opportunities. I'm Bob Beldewos and I'm here with
Julian Sequeira. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to run through a bunch of lessons that we learned along our entrepreneurial path. So let's get started.
Let's get rolling. Lesson 1, just get started. And this sounds very simple, yet it's profound.
Yep. And it's as simple as that. If you don't get started, you've really got nothing. And speaking from our experience, we sat there when we first started thinking about our blog for so long without taking action. And next thing you know, we realized we've really done nothing. We've got nothing to show for the time and conversations that we had. So the first step here is to get started, get something done.
Yep. And as PyBites, we literally started out as just a Python blog. That was the thing we had at the time. Julian was new. You were new to Python. I already used it, but was nowhere near the advanced level. And I wanted to improve. And you wanted to learn it from scratch. And we partnered up. And what was the best way to learn? To use it and teach it. So by lack of any product, we just started a blog sharing what we learned. And we built a crappy platform. The first iteration was not that beautiful. And we got a lot better by hundreds and hundreds of iterations.
Yeah. So if you think about it, if we'd sat there and looked at the platform and tried to make everything perfect, it never would have come out. We never would have gotten the positive feedback. We never would have gotten the feedback on things to change and to improve on. And it wouldn't be the success that it is today. So the same goes with the blog. We had a lot of feedback on these things, and that helped us shape the path of those platforms, the blog and the coding platform, but also us as entrepreneurs and the business as a whole, all came with feedback from people. After we started, we had to push something out there. That was the key part.
Yep. You don't have the answers when you start. You only get the answers when you put stuff out there and you get real users of your software, of your product, etc. And look at that now. Version 1518. So the hundreds of iterations is backed up right there. It's come a long way.
Definitely. All right. Next up, the second lesson we have is have the confidence to reach out.
Build it and they will come. The common herd myth. Well, it's definitely not true. It's not magically happening. So you have to create opportunity. You have to reach out. And it's very hard at first. So you have to almost like borrow a little bit of confidence up front to do that.
So our first breakthrough was us reaching out to one of the bigger content creators in the space. When we did this, it actually opened the doors for us. It helped us engage with a larger audience. It helped us write some articles that got a lot more publicity and got us on some resource lists and so on and so forth. So it was literally us having that confidence to reach out to people that we almost idolized and looked up to as well. That got us a lot of our initial exposure and helped us start to build some momentum.
Yeah, and we did our homework, right? I mean, the content piece we put out there was 5 pages long. It was pretty thorough. But yeah, it was not just sitting there magically getting thousands of visits. We had to reach out to other people.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Reach out with value. Don't just reach out to say hi without something else,
Yeah, everything starts with adding value. Totally.
So you are your biggest advocate. Now, when you reach out to people, it's your enthusiasm in your own product or service that's going to build excitement in others. And that is the key thing. If you aren't passionate about the thing you are trying to build, sell, produce, whatever it is, if you aren't passionate about it, no one's going to want to buy it because you have to be excited about it. You build it. You need to believe in it. So you are your biggest advocate.
Yeah, passion goes a long way. talked about passion. So this was PyCon 2018 or 19. I cannot even remember.
It's 2018, I think, our first one.
Yeah. So here, this was a culmination of the work we had done so far. We had the 100 Days of Code courses, we had our platform and our Slack community. And we submitted a poster request, which was accepted, and built this poster. And I think this was kind of a pivotal moment for us where we got in front of a bigger audience, obviously, with PyCon. But yeah, as you can see, it definitely was a snowball effect of different products and efforts coming together and forming the bedrock of PyBites.
Yeah. And to reflect on the previous slide with regards to confidence, this took a lot of guts from us. We'd never done anything like it. We were honestly crapping ourselves. And the reality is we took that plunge. We got the confidence to get in front of people. And one thing I remember explicitly about this little event was that we had a crowd around this poster. People were genuinely interested because the two of us were there. We were excited and we were really passionate when we spoke about PyBites to everyone else. And it just got lots of people interested, I think we made business cards, right? So people were taking business cards and getting in contact with us. It was a lot of fun, but that was one of the biggest steps of confidence and having the guts to do it that we took, I think.
Don't make your business cards too soon. That's definitely not a priority, but we did have.
Yeah, we just thought we'd dive in.
Now, lesson 3 is a big one. Perfectionism is your worst enemy. And it kind of goes back to number 1, getting stuff out there. Again, if you don't accept that you will have imperfections, you will fail, you're never going to release anything on time or at all. So you have to kind of drop that perfectionism, especially as an entrepreneur.
And one way to beat this perfectionism is to use Parkinson's law, and that is to, at its simplest, just set some deadlines for yourself. So every time we set deadlines, Bob and myself, to produce something, we get it done. And that's how every single thing that we've produced over the years got done. We set some really strict deadlines and we really pushed. We sacrificed our own time, our sleep, whatever it is we have to do to fit into those deadlines, and also made us prioritize a lot better. And the key part here was the products. They may not have been perfect, just like we spoke about code challenges before. The platform, it wasn't perfect, but it was good enough. It was good enough to push, to get out there and get feedback on.
Yeah, I think the latest iteration was a Facebook ad where we spelled Pythonita instead of Pythonista, and of course people
typo
are giving us all kinds of crap about that. But that was good.
Yeah,
it is what it is. There's so much to do as an entrepreneur. You wear so many hats that you will have to move fast, and the only way to do that is to drop perfectionism. And again, sometimes you only know which direction to take after pushing your stuff out there. It's amazing how many times we just thought we had it right, but then pushing stuff out to the market and getting feedback actually wanted something entirely different. And luckily we pushed to find that out early in the process, and we could iterate over it. Again, keeping your stuff local and procrastinating on releasing it is going to do you more harm than good.
Yeah, the key thing here is move quickly, as you said, get stuff out there, like we said in lesson 1, and then iterate and change direction when you get that feedback. So sometimes it's not a matter of continuing down the same path. Might need to pivot completely. And we've done that. We've definitely done that.
Yeah. So that was the first iteration of the blog, which is kind of laughable, especially the logo. But yeah, truth is, the blog preempted the design of a logo, so we had to push it out. And we kind of made fun of it by this little init post, like, well, first post, just doing init, right? All nerdy. But, it got us moving. It literally got us traction. And now, last year, we made this redesign. It looks a lot more professional now. But this would not have happened if it was for the initial iterations, which were ugly.
Yep. And you can see it's become more than just a blog. We have resources, we have services, we have the podcast. So the blog had to change and iterate with us. And that was one of the key things. I am curious to see what those original Julian and Bob links on that init post are. So there's probably some ghetto about pages, I imagine. But yeah, so
still up there. You can probably go to that page, Hello World, and
yeah.
Yeah. And also notice the mission on the right. We create well-rounded Python developers. That was definitely not our pretension or aim when we started. We were just learning it out ourselves. And then as we actually went into coaching. And now we have a very clear mission, which aligns with the business.
Yeah, you can see our original one, Python code challenges, tutorials, and news 1 byte a day. Definitely we've moved on from that quite a lot, All right, so the fourth lesson, what problem are you solving? In this one, this comes with the confidence to reach out, but you really need to listen to the people around you. When you want to find that idea, when you want to find out what your audience, what your clients, what they all need, you need to speak to them and listen to them. Don't just speak for the sake of speaking. Speak to consume, speak to listen and draw information out of people, because they will be constantly presenting you with the problems that they need solved all the time. People talk all the time and they love to tell you what the problems are, what they complain about. And this is exactly where you can step in and listen carefully and then create something to solve the problem for them.
Yeah, because there are thousands of problems to solve, but ideally you solve something that's relevant and meaningful for people. But if you don't have many people visiting your site or stuff, then the best place to start is to scratch your own itch. So we found that tutorials and stuff didn't really work from us from the start. So we really started to challenge each other. Like we need to write code. So how do we do that? Well, Julian, here's a challenge. Go solve it by Friday, and then we'll review it. And so I know a little bit more. That way we both can learn. And we literally scratch our own itch. And that led into the blog code challenges, which led to the platform exercises, which led to the 100 Days of Code courses. But it all started with solving a problem of our own, which we thought was relevant to the market as well.
And what was cool was that people started seeing us doing those weekly challenges. And it was just through people Googling and finding the website. And then we listened. So back to that first point, we listened to those people and they said, we want to do things like that. We want to have chat. We want to be challenged. We want to learn more by solving these same problems you guys are. And then that's just how it grew.
Yeah. And later on, we did the same with the tips book, because we didn't know that tips would work till we started to post tip images on Twitter, and they got tremendous traction. Well, let's write a book. But we validated that idea first, and then it becomes gravity. It's going to work. And again, here you see how the platform started, which is pretty basic in comparison how it is today. Then later on, we built a lot of other features like the coding calendar, learning paths, which are enormously popular. That was not where we started. That came by talking to people.
Yeah, and these are things that weren't built and they will come. This was specific requests from people in the feedback that they were giving on the exercises. Oh, I'd love to have a GitHub style, code streaking calendar. If you guys had learning paths, that would be really cool. And, you can just ignore that thing and say, go somewhere else. But we said, no, we'll build that. We'll give them what they want. And it's just been a highly valuable experience.
Yep. And the final lesson, number 5, is don't go at it alone.
Love that image.
Like, you often don't know what you don't know. So mentors can save you years of effort because they provide focus and shortcut experience.
Yep, you're exactly right. So for relating it back to us, we're programmers, we're tech heads, we're, technical people. And there were aspects of running a business that when it started happening, we just were not very good at. And when it just became too much of an issue for us and too much of a stress, we hired mentors to help us out. and it's built our confidence. It's just been immeasurably valuable to us to have done that. So that's why we are very big supporters of people seeking out mentors, because it really does take you from zero to hero.
And by the way, we didn't hire Brad Pitt.
Yeah, he was out of our price range.
But yeah, we did definitely get some help with more like the marketing, non-technical skills, and they were sharpshooter precise in guiding us, getting us on the right track, and then we could execute. And we are super big on accountability partners. Obviously, we are each other's accountability partners, and I think the fact that PyBites is alive and doing so well because we hold each other accountable. So motivation has its ebbs and flows. So when one is down, the other comes in and reminds the other of the why and the things we achieved and why we're doing it. So that accountability is massive, and I think it 5 or 10x's your chances of success.
Yeah, and we're not just talking traditional accountability partners where it's, that we've talked about before, and other mediums where we're talking about coding accountability partners. That's not what we mean. If we're talking entrepreneurs here, we're talking about getting out of bed at 5 a.m. to work on your business. We're talking about finishing work for the day and putting the kids to bed, and then instead of sitting down and watching Netflix, getting your butt onto your computer and writing a blog post, or doing some marketing, getting out there on social media, engaging with people. This is the sort of stuff that we held each other accountable to, and still do, because it is incredibly difficult and it can wear you down. So this is why an accountability partner is so just priceless. It has been one of the best productivity and entrepreneurism techniques that we've implemented.
Motivational, yeah. And I will be unpopular for saying this, but it's also your environment, right? So if all your friends are doing video games every night, 3 hours, don't expect you to grow, because you're probably surrounding yourself with the wrong people to set that standard, right? So
yeah,
that's very important as well.
All right, and that leads us into our next steps. So what we want you to do is to think hard about what you would build if you were to go down the entrepreneurial path. So this is obviously, we're talking about Python related entrepreneurial endeavors. So link it to what you might have thought of before and things that you'd love to see exist in the world, and even your dream app, those sorts of things. Get creative, because there is no better time to get started on this journey than now, or even yesterday. Okay. As we mentioned in the first lesson, the tip is to just get started. I can't stress that enough. So now is the time to take action.
And you're in a very fortunate position that you know Python, or well, that's why you're here. So we suppose you have some level of Python. So combine that with entrepreneurial skills, and you can literally build your own business around the thing you really enjoy. It just takes massive action and getting started. And we want to help you. So book a call with us. We have strategy sessions every week. We look at your specific situation, where you are with your Python, where you want to go in this context, what app you want to build, what business you want to start. And we give you some valuable advice and see how we can best help you with that.
Yep. So click that link and it will take you to a calendar. And then we just want you to book a time that suits you, and we'll hop on a call with you.
Yeah. Even if you think, I don't have an app, that's not for me, still book the call, because you might find that it is for you.
Yeah.
We want to help you. Okay, on to some bonuses. Sure, write your bonuses. I guess we forgot them in the lessons, but forget about the competition. And this is really a mindset thing, because we're always comparing, and all the brilliant things have been done, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, but don't start there, even if you start with a simple blog, and there are a gazillion blogs, right? It's still your blog, your unique style. And as we said before, you have to iterate to find your niche. And because look at us, like there are a million Python blogs and very talented instructors all over the place, right? But we found our niche of coaching and helping people through building apps. And we couldn't even have envisioned that if we had not started and had just ignored the competition for a little bit.
Yep. And this links back to that previous slide about booking the call, because if you're thinking about this app idea for yourself, you will probably be thinking my idea already exists or it's already been done. And so we want you to shake that mentality off, because that is poison for the entrepreneur. So don't think about that. Don't worry about that. Remember, you have to think about what makes your idea unique, because you are unique. It could just be a completely different user interface that changes your product from the next, and that might make it a league better. So we just want you to remember you are unique. Your ideas will therefore be unique. So just get out there, forget about the competition, start listening to your audience and start pushing.
Yeah, just start listening to your audience. That's important, even if it's a small audience, but there are a million problems to solve. And I like that fact that ice cream was around for 4 millennia, but the cone was invented in 1800.
Yeah.
So 3,800 years later, they solved a very, in hindsight, obvious problem, but it was not there, right? So keep that example in mind. And
They invented portable ice cream. I love it.
yeah. All right, bonus number 2. Am I really good enough? No, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah.
This one is tough.
Yes, this one is big. So we hear you and welcome to the club, because we constantly hit this imposter syndrome. That's what it is. If you're saying, am I really good enough? The honest answer is yes, of course you are. You always have been. You always will be. The reason you think you don't, or that you're not good enough, is because you have imposter syndrome. And that is just that little voice in your head telling you, who do you think you are? Why do you think you're good enough to be doing this? Pff, you don't know Jack. And you just need to tell that voice to shut up. And the way to do that is to just push through it. Just submit the articles, just push the code, just get something out there.
Dude, I have to ask you, when was your last inner voice imposter syndrome episode?
Probably today. We recorded a podcast today, and there was definitely some with that.
Yeah, that was my yesterday. We had it a bit, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
But never
Doesn't
goes
stop.
away, and you have to embrace it and take mindset. But it's just inherent of doing anything as coder, but even more so as an entrepreneur, where the stakes are higher, risks are bigger. And we don't say that to discourage you. It's just a fact. And the only way to solve it is to push through. You have to become uncomfortable, because progress is at the other side of being uncomfortable.
Yep. And this next point is really, if I don't say so myself, really good advice. There's always going to be someone out there who finds value in what you put out. Do not deny them of your talents. This one really hit home for me, because when I first started writing the blog, I was completely new to Python, hadn't programmed in a very long time. And here I was writing about Python on the internet. You know, the imposter syndrome was strong, and I just felt like, what am I doing here? And I tell you what, the first comment on one of my posts where someone said, this really helped. It didn't come straight away. I remember it took a while for it to come in, but they really appreciated my writing style, and they appreciated what I'd taught them. And it just occurred to me, if I hadn't have written that, that one random person on the other side of the planet would not have been supported on that day. So just remember that just the single person that you might help makes everything worthwhile.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, both that you have a pretty unique writing style and you keep it fun and engaging. So, and yeah, if you wouldn't have done that because of fear, you would have done people a disservice. So look at how many people we've helped now with our Python. If we were held back by fear, then they wouldn't have had that progress in their careers. So, and this is one of our favorites. If you get haters, it actually says you're doing something meaningful. This took us a while to overcome, and we still struggle with this, honestly. On any Facebook ad, on anytime we put code out there are critics. We oversee things. There are always things to improve technically, but there are also people that just make a hobby out of tearing you down, and just expect that. to suspect that they're coming, and it's good because that means you're doing something meaningful. Because the worst case is if it goes completely silent and people are just, I don't care. And honestly, just a message to these haters: you're probably envious anyway.
That's the reality of it. Honestly, if you have people, taking a stab at you over what you're putting out there, a lot of the time it just comes down to their own lack of confidence, their own jealousy, and them, thinking to themselves, well, who's this person out there putting something out there meaningful, putting something meaningful out there? I know better, but I'm not doing it. And it's all about them. It's all about, well, their self-reflection. Why aren't they doing it? And I could talk for hours on this topic, but I won't. The key here is that if you are getting people commenting negatively or giving you grief, it just means you're doing something worthwhile.
Yep. Don't let their inadequacy stand in the way of you progressing, because it's just their issue. Wow, that was this training on mindset, by the way? This is quite some mindset here, right?
Yeah, mindset, entrepreneur, it all goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah. Maybe you should come talk to us because we have a lot more to say about that.
Yep. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, the training. Make sure you go back to that slide about the booking a call with us. Think long and hard about your app. We want to talk to you. We want to help you through it. And that's it. Hope you've enjoyed it. These are our 5 lessons and the 2 bonuses, of course. And good luck.
Yep. Hope this was valuable. Start building. And if you want to learn more, come talk to us. Thanks for watching.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob.
Right. Thanks, Julie.